Rubber bands, how do they work? They're kind of like springs, and then when you pull them apart, they store elastic potential energy. Rubber bands are made out of polymers, which are composed of long strands of atoms that can reach into the thousands. They start tangled together and curled up with their neighbors, and as they are pulled apart, the polymers straighten out, causing them to push on each other because of how tangled they are. The band also gets thinner because they're become lengthwise rather than just being blobbed together. The pull of the band comes from the rubber bands wanting to return to the original position where it takes the least energy to keep them there. An example could be when you take your fingers and interlock them together and push them together. It takes a lot of energy to keep them pushed together rather than just to let them go. Your fingers, like the polymers in the bands, want to be as far apart as they can get. The closer they are, the more force is required to keep them there. When you let go of the band, all of the atoms push on each other to return to their original positions as fast as they can, and that's why they snap back so quickly, because it's just all of the atoms pulling back together. And that's where I came up with the idea for the rock launcher. So it works because the rubber bands are tied to a rope with a net on it and then put in the opening on the board. Then you put a rock in the net and pull it back, storing elastic potential energy in the bands. And when you release the bands, the rock is pulled forward by the bands until the polymer chains have reached their original position. The bands and the rock will all continue forwards until the band reaches as far forwards as it can get with its length, at which point the rock will totally leave the system and continue moving until it hits the ground.